I think that this is just Republicans thinking that they want to run as Democrats and then switch parties instantly to be able to get through what they want because they can't run anymore on their own policies. You guys want to talk about Sinema? Yo, look at this. It's crazy. When my favorite Harvard law student. Let's talk elections.
Hey guys, welcome back to today's video. Today is Monday, March 13th, 2023, and today we are going to be talking about Gallego and the Arizona Senate race in 2024 that has been on the minds of many national Democrats and local Democrats in Arizona that are concerned about the future of the Senate majority. What lies and is decided by many battleground states, including the state of Arizona, which is proving to be very difficult for Democrats to capture in due to incumbent independent senator Kyrsten Sinema, who has been a former Democrat in this state that currently has filed paperwork to run for re-election in 2024. Now, because she is formally announced, there is still heavy speculation that she may decide against running, but this video is about a potential.
Also, guys, you don't know how much strength it took to not name, us talking about Kyrsten Sinema, me, like, in the title. I really wanted to name it Sinema Sins, but I decided against it. I really was going to, but I decided against it at the end of the day.
A matchup between Ruben Gallego, the Democrat who is currently serving in the United States House of Representatives from Arizona, Carrie Lake, and other Republicans, those who have served in previous office, or not previous office, but previous candidacy profiles, such as the Republican nominee for X office. And we've also seen now Kyrsten Sinema as the independent senator altogether thrown into this three-way race. A race that Democrats are worried about because they know that Kyrsten Sinema, coming from the 2018 Senate race, has long been elected by a Democratic constituency. Kyrsten Sinema, who was elected first to the United States House of Representatives by a district that voted for her largely in part because of her
I can't tell if it's me.
Party on the national level, and that she would be serving as independent.
Oh no, that's him.
This is with the Democratic Party alongside Bernie Sanders and Angus King, though not remotely similar of ideology. Kyrsten Sinema, serving in this position, now has put the Democrats in a difficult position for 2024. Republican or Democratic primary polling, Kyrsten Sinema was polling leading up to her resignation from the party in the high teens.
Oof. Yeah, she was up here in like 30. She was getting like 30%. Ruben Gallego. Look at this. Holy shit. Oh my gosh. 74% for Gallego, 16% for Sinema. Oh man, peak restraint. Dude, does she think that she can rally support from Republicans? Because she has support from Republicans, but the only reason they have support from Republicans is because she has support from Republicans right now is because she's like foiling Democrats' plans in Congress. But there's no reason that they would ever vote for her. Why would they vote for her when they could just vote for a Republican instead? That's how this always works. I'm not sure if that's her plan. Now, I think Kyrsten Sinema, what she's doing is that she's pivoting like a lot of Democrats across the country are. And you guys may have picked this up recently. There's been a decent amount of Democrats, a decent amount of politicians who are running as Democrats, but once they get elected, they then switch parties instantly to being Republicans and then voting for Republican policies instead. There's just something that should be so illegal about that. But we can't, like, you couldn't trust politicians before, but as a Democrat these days, it's something that I think is not talked about that much. But I genuinely believe that like an underhand plan for Republicans these days is to pretend to be Democrats, run as Democrats, sometimes even run to the left of normal Democrats, win because the actual more progressive Democrat gets suppressed by the establishment Democratic Party, or is like slightly left, but like a little bit like socially more activist, like economically more conservative, and then win. And then the instant they win, they switch parties just like that. We saw it in North Carolina. Yeah. So look, this is what happened. So this person ran as a Democrat, but not only Democrat, she ran as a Democrat who was pro-abortion. Okay, that was her big thing, and that's how she made it into like the state legislature. But then days after she made it into office and she was like inaugurated, you know what happened? She switched parties instantly and then became a conservative Republican giving the GOP the control of the legislature, and then is helping pass anti-abortion legislation in her seat. Listen, I don't believe in any political violence, but I will say, if the founding fathers put the Second Amendment in the Constitution for a reason, there is an argument that this is one of them. Is this legal? Yes, it's completely legal because she was duly elected. You can lie, but if you get elected, period. And you're allowed to switch parties and vote however you want. It's not illegal to vote in like a certain way. You can vote, right? So she can just do this. There's nothing really illegal about it. It's just horribly immoral. And I think honestly evil too. And this happened in Dallas a couple days ago. Yeah, a couple days ago. Dallas mayor switches parties to join GOP. Look at this Corey in the house fuck. Retain a baby. I require that wire. Fuck you. You're required to be homeless. You're required to be out of a job. This guy, Eric Johnson, like joined as a Democrat, was elected as a Democrat, then switched to being a Republican out of nowhere, and then wrote an article about how America's cities need Republicans, and I'm running to be one. And you know the subtitle for this? While Dallas is actually perfectly fine, Democratic policies have been bad like elsewhere, and so Democratic policies have exacerbated crime and homelessness. So I just decided to change literally everything, and now I'm a Republican. Teehee. Crazy, isn't it? And now I'm going to vote down every progressive policy that the legislature puts through because I can. Literally evil. I think, and it's something that's really only been plaguing the Democratic Party. I'm going to tell you now. I think that this is just Republicans thinking that they want to run as Democrats and then switch parties instantly to be able to get through what they want because they can't run anymore on their own policies. And so instead of running on your own policies, because that's hard and you don't get elected, and just running as a Republican is difficult sometimes. And so why don't you just pretend to be a Democrat and then switch parties instantly to be able to get anything that you want from basically get anything you want. And then once it rolls over and you're no longer going to be elected anymore because you're in a blue city, state, district, right? You just parlay that into the radical left has pushed you out for your normal politics, and then you get like a comfy seat somewhere in a lobbying firm. Run on Democratic policies and then just throw up the reverse Uno card. Yeah, 100%. It's not even like they didn't believe. It's not even like they said that they didn't believe these things. They say they believe it, lie to your face, and then just do something differently. It's not even like they tried or they didn't get there or plans changed slightly. They are simply just lying. And I think there should be a way to make it illegal, I think. But at the moment, no. It's just horribly immoral. It's just horribly immoral. He said American cities need Republicans and Republicans need American cities. So this guy Johnson was like, Republicans need to get elected in cities, but we can't because all of our policies are ass and terrible and nobody wants to elect us here. So instead of me convincing people to vote for Republicans, I'm just going to lie and say that I'm a Democrat and then just switch to be a Republican, like take the mask off. And I'm like, hey guys, I got you. What BS reasoning is that? Money, delusion, two things, money and delusion. And also thinking that capitalism is the only possible, more capitalism is the only possible direction that America should go in to fix our problems caused by capitalism. They can't think outside the box. I think the problem with America is that we don't have enough. So they're just like, oh yeah, we definitely need more. And so that's what they want to do. Add more austerity, add less social safety nets, all of these types of things. Make people suffer more. That'll make them work harder. Eric Adams as well will change parties too. Listen, I'm going to tell you one thing. always think negatively about your average New Yorker. If you think positively about your average New Yorker, you're wrong. And when I say New Yorker, I mean like New York City. You're wrong. Okay? In the movies, I have to say it. You know what I always say? In the movies, supervillains get defeated in New York. And in real life, they get elected to public office. That's the real thing you need to understand about New York City, okay? So yeah, is Eric Adams a terrible person? Yes. Most New Yorkers are kind of terrible people because they like terrible people running their city. It's just kind of how it works. I hate to. Michael Bloomberg was the mayor for 2 terms. Giuliani was the mayor for multiple terms. Okay? Those are the people who were mayor before, like Eric Adams was. Remember, New Yorkers love electing the worst human being possible and then wondering why things are bad. They'll elect 3 terrible mayors in a row. Things will be terrible. And then they'll elect one good one and things will get better for a while and then be like, we need things to be bad again. Can confirm, I know. Yeah, it's true. Anyways.
As an incumbent senator, you should be dominating the field. What we know is that 90 to 95% of congressional office holders, whether in the House or Senate, win re-election. And nearly 98% win their primaries should they decide to run. That's significant. Primarying a candidate is hard. Primarying a senator is even harder. It's much easier when you can do grassroots organizing on a statewide, but rather on a congressional district level where you're working with roughly less than 1 million people. But when it comes down to statewide elections, states with large populations, 3 to 4 million, such as Arizona, it's a lot more difficult, especially when you're working in different regions of the state. What we know from American politics and general human psyche is that you vote for the incumbent most of the time. And that is the case in most of the primaries. What happened here is because Kyrsten Sinema was so exceptionally unpopular amongst Democrats, Ruben Gallego had...
Wait, New York elected a good mayor? Well, it's been a while. Good is like, in like, okay, good in New Yorker terms is like not a supervillain. And that's basically what I mean.
Support. Anyone had their support. In not one matchup, even against names where people didn't necessarily recognize them, did Kyrsten Sinema lead. When to a primary with 5 different candidates, including the option to win or choose undecided, Kyrsten Sinema still did not win. When faced against a head-to-head matchup between Greg Stanton, Kathy Hoffman, Kate Gallego, who is Ruben Gallego's wife, all of them made a decision, all of these Democratic primary voters, collectively you found the majority of them chose the other option. This is where it gets difficult for Kyrsten Sinema, or where it got difficult, which largely led her to leave the party, at least in terms of my eyes. The reason being, if you lose a primary for a congressional election, House or Senate, you cannot run as an independent and get on the ballot. The state of Arizona has what we call sore loser laws, where you can't all of a sudden screw over the incumbent party or whichever party that chose not to elect you in the primary. So what did she do? She decided to leave. And now there's a consideration that she may run under this new party from the organization called No Labels, an organization that is known for its sexist ideology, for propositioning up.
They don't believe in anything besides making money for their shareholders.
Favorites of the Senate in their eyes. So No Labels now gaining a ballot spot in the Arizona race in 2024, whether House, Senate, whatever it might be, presidential, they can run a candidate, and they will for sure have ballot access due to the organizing that they've done in this state. They're starting early. It looks like they may be gearing up for a Senate bid in Arizona. Maybe Kyrsten Sinema is gearing up for a bid under this race. But we haven't really hit the point. The title of this video is talking about how Democrats, are in a position to do well as a result of the 2024 three-way race. That they may be able to lead when it comes down to head-to-head matchups or lead overall the three-way race itself. What these polls show.
Sheesh. We talked about this, and apparently Galleo's support has only grown because he was still leading by like 2 or 3 points, but now it seems like it's expanded to as much as 9, as much as 11. Oh, if Sinema gets clapped, dude. Oh, can you imagine? Has she been campaigning? She hasn't campaigned, right? She hasn't campaigned at all. Wait, I want to see this. I need to see this. Has she tried to campaign? She hasn't been back to Arizona in like 5 years. Gallego? I don't know. I thought it was Gallego. Gallego? Is it a Hispanic name? I thought it was Dutch. New FEC complaint filed over Sinema campaign spending. Oh, she is campaigning, I guess, somewhat. There's stuff from like 5 months ago about her doing something. It doesn't seem like much. 9 months ago, 8 months ago. Is there anything about this month? Oh, I mean, she did something. Okay, wait. She posted this a couple months ago.
You all know this, but I promised Arizonans that I'd be an independent voice for our state. And throughout my time in first the U.S. Congress and now the United States Senate, I have been committed to finding solutions that work for all Arizonans, regardless of political affiliation or party affiliation. I just want to try and solve problems and get things done. Thank you so much. Well, and Mayor, thank you so much for taking the time to meet with me. Thank you all so much for coming. I know how busy all of you are, and so I'm really grateful that we have the opportunity to be here.
Kyrsten Sinema listens, offers help for solutions to local concerns. Yeah, I bet. Mojave Daily News. Okay. Didn't offer shit. I don't think she did anything.
Together. Really what I'd like to do with our time here today is just hear from all of you about what
the crazy, is she even in Arizona here?
How my office and I can be helpful to all of you.
Senator Sinema has been a real leader in our area. She has always been available to answer the phone when we need something. She's always responsive to our needs, and when she says she's here to listen, she really is.
We are facing an existential
so
threat because of this drought. As I said, we all succeed or fail together. So I want Lake Havasu and the community to know that I'm their partner in fighting to make sure that we're protecting water for today and for our future generations. I want you to count on me as a resource. It is my job to make sure I'm delivering results for.
Okay, I need to see this. Okay, I need to see this. Kyrsten Sinema. There has to be recording out there. There has to be a recording out there of Kyrsten Sinema talking to voters, right? Because I don't believe she's actually talking to voters here. I don't believe that. She pitches path to victory as she polls 17%. GOP Dems team up to rip Delusional Sinema. Delusional Sinema. Over plan to wipe voters to swipe their voters in independent elections and as running as an independent. She plans for significant GOP support in expected re-election bid, report says. Oh, she's actually delusional. She doesn't expect many Democratic voters. Now that makes sense. Kyrsten Sinema is apparently pinning her hopes for re-election, at least in part on Republican voters, as she gears up her Senate run after leaving the Democratic Party. Obtained documents prepared for donors by Sinema's team detailing how the senator could still win here's how Bernie can still win. I love that man, but sometimes you gotta, call it quits. Sometimes you just gotta cut your losses, okay? I love you, all right? By relying almost entirely on support from independents and Republicans, her apparent path to victory would consist of only 10 to 20% of votes cast by Democrats, according to documents. If these parties nominate extremists as expected, Kyrsten will win a majority of independents, at least a third of Republicans, and a percentage of Dems. Oh, she's delusional. I just thought it was just going to be her trying to collect. I thought it was just going to be her trying to collect some fucking trying to get like a comfy seat on like a board and a lobbying firm. That's what I thought, bro. She is actually unironically thinking that she could win re-election. Is that true? Well, Sinema looks like a Muppet. I think Sinema dresses more like. I think if I'm gonna be honest with you, Sinema dresses more like one of the higher up in the Hunger Games, one of the rich people from the Hunger Games. Ain't no way she can pull a third of Republicans. I guess that's what she thinks, making her the first independent to win a three-way race statewide in American history. Oh, they're delusional. Oh no, wait, they are actually delusional. Wait, wait, what other plan could they possibly have? Besides her actually being delusional. Listen, guys, she's going to win a majority of the independents, a third of the Republicans, and some Democrats, making her the first independent to win a three-way race in American history. The document read. Sinema switched her party affiliation in December. Republicans might vote for her because she sabotaged Joe. She will get some Republican votes. A third is insane. A majority of independents is insane. Proof of that insanity is every single poll to ever come out.
is that Ruben Gallego, when faced up against many other candidates, takes a lead, but especially a lead against candidates like Blake Masters and Kari Lake, Republicans who failed to win their elections in the 2022 midterm elections. And Kari Lake, of all of them, is probably the worst candidate that Republicans could nominate for this race. She's extreme beyond compare. And had she been in Blake Masters' position against a candidate as strong as Mark Kelly, I honestly think that she would have lost worse than Blake Masters, even though she went closer.
Girl bossing too close to the sun. I can't say
Kate Hobbs ran a campaign better than Mark Kelly. But regardless, though, Kari Lake loses 10 points against Ruben Gallego in a head-to-head matchup. But our concern here is this three-way race. Now, Kari Lake, as a potential candidate, I know it might seem extreme that a failed candidate from 2022 is considering running again. Well, for one, we've heard from advisors close to Karen Taylor Robson, who lost the primary to Kari Lake in the governor election in 2022, that she is considering a Senate bid. We've heard from advisors close to Blake Masters that he is considering a Senate bid. And we know now, more recently in the news, that Kari Lake, this was 17 hours ago, is considering another Senate run. Is interacting with people on Twitter and other news sources, saying that she is considering a bid, that she might throw her hat into the ring, especially that there might be a spoiler in the race. But that question about whether or not the spoiler will actually exist definitely comes down to whether Kyrsten Sinema decides to run, or if voters will actually bite when it comes down to this race. Now, my
bite. That's true. It is bait. I will tell you that.
I think that what we are seeing in these three-way races is that there are voters who are shifting over to Kyrsten Sinema currently, but don't necessarily choose her overall. You see, the independent candidate here, being Kyrsten Sinema, peaks no more than 22% in these potential matchups. A lot of that support seems to be coming from both sides of the aisle. In terms of matchups between Ruben Gallego and Blake Masters, roughly a very similar amount stay undecided, a difference of 5 points. But what you find is that he reduces from 34, or Blake Masters reduces down from 32 to 24%. Ruben Gallego reduces from 43% down to 33%. Kyrsten Sinema pulls from the undecided category, that's 22%, and you still have a significant chunk of the electorate that is ultimately undecided. But in all of these races, Ruben Gallego comes ahead. And I think it comes from the fact that Kyrsten Sinema's base no longer relies on the Democratic Party, at least to the extent that it once did. She's still pulling away more from Democrats than she is Republicans. That's a problem that needs to be solved moving forward. But I think Democrats should be quite surprised. In fact, happy. Results aren't more in their for the Republican favor than what they are right now, which
I'm going to tell you this now. Sinema can't win. All right. Her goal is one of two things. One, to win and she's delusional. Or two, to just let be a spoiler so the Republican can win. And then it would make perfect sense. There's only two options. There's literally only two options for what's going on here. And I'm going to tell you, it could be either one. It really could. But no matter what, she's not going to win. But I know if she knows that, she's probably going to try to take the, in the country, nationwide, left side down. Whatever side is to the left of her down. That's possible. She's just a spoiler. Maybe. It's possible. She has no chance of winning. Okay, but just because she has no chance doesn't mean that she believes she has no chance. Those are two different things. Two very different things indeed. Come here. Oh. Hi.
Oh, sorry. I didn't see you there. If you're enjoying the content, hit the subscribe button. If you don't, it'll make Boo very sad. I know a bunch of you who are watching are not subscribed. Join the frenzy. You won't regret it. Thank you, Boo.